Hey guys, and welcome to a showdown between two warriors of legend. On the left-hand side, representing DBD and the Vampire Coast, shall be Stormrunner up against Ramso, Panzer, and the Avalon Forces, which is a sub-faction of the High Elves. And I really like this pick by him coming in up against the Vampirates because it does give you access to a few more units in the form of the Dryads, Treekin, and Treemen. And Dryads in particular, I think, do really good in this matchup with their Vanguard and Rush potential. But first, let's go over the Vampirates build and have a little look-see to see what we've got here. In the front line, we have cheap and cheerful zombie pirate deckhand mobs, simply here to hold the line, and they are big old fat meat stacks of HP that the enemy have to drag themselves through to get to your guns in the back formations. Speaking of guns, we do have two mortars flanking Queen Bess, who's launching a shot up into the skies. And that is one big missile. It's like 3 barrels actually strapped together. Protecting Queen Bess, we do have Aranessa Salt Spite, a character you don't get to see terribly often, but she does come with a few useful abilities. The Spearfisher Net in particular is very good. Anything that can stop mobility in the multiplayer scene tends to be rather competitive. We have All Hands Ahoy and Manon's Luck, which makes her a little bit more tanky. Just behind, we do have a bloated corpse hiding in the trees, who we shall dub Barry for now. We also have some Depth Guard, elite vampire infantry. These guys are berserk warriors who also have aquatic, so should be able to fight relatively well in this terrain, and they have the hunger to give them a bit more durability. We have a Mongol Hunter down on the left-hand side, the character version of the Mongols, who again, you don't get to see that often. And to top out the build, we have a Vampire Fleet Captain of Vampires, Invocation Heck, the Dance Macabre, as well as Raise Dead. And dotted throughout the enemy back lines, we do have some Scurvy Dogs all around the place. Let's see, we do have some in the corners as well, which is good positioning all round coming in by Stormrunner. So some more down there. As for his opponent, and the High Elves have gone incredibly wide. If you take a little look at the mini-map, they are making use of the entire width of the battle line. It is going to be a mixture of Illyrian Reavers and Illyrian Reaver Archers on the right-hand side, as well as Dryads and Shadow Warriors coming in with their glorious Avalon colour scheme, and they actually blend in quite nicely with the grass, which should help them sneak up upon their opponent. Rangers will be leading the main battle line down the centre, and on the other flank, once again, we have a combination of Dryads and Shadow Warriors. Leading this force up on a glorious Moondragon and currently hiding inside of a tree, we have the Archmage of Life coming with a humble regrowth. So just regrowth, really going to be coming in for those big breath attacks. Without further ado, let's get this battle underway, as the first more shots do rain down, as well as Queen Bess, who seems to have already taken a pretty deadly toll on the Rangers, although the second volley is a bit of a skewiff miss, but still killed a few models, which is always good news. You really want to break down as much higher forces as possible before they reach your battle lines, because one big problem the Vampires are going to have, the fact that they don't have the widest army in the universe, is these Shadow Warriors are going to have to get deadly close, shoot over the front line, and start hitting at the artillery crews of the Mortar and Queen Bess, and I'm a big fan all round of this high elf build. I think it's got a ton of potential. Illyrian Reavers are starting to dart and weave between the trees. However, the Hunter is upon them, slamming in and killing one model straight out of the gate, trying to stop these guys from getting into the back formation. Fire continues to rain down on the Ranger front line, doing some nice damage. However, these guys do have a spread out formation, so they won't be taking it too much enemy fire. Illyrian Reavers only darting in, trying to hunt down Queen Bess, but the bloated boy is standing firm. You shall not pass. And oh my god, the disgusting damage, leaving just 11 Illyrian Reavers alive, who actually shatter and disappear. Barry led a good life. Dryads have forced their way through the front line onto the mortars, managing to disengage from the Hunter and really hop on top of those key targets. So Aranessa's Salt Spite is coming over to help protect, but the High Elves are doing a really nice approach of wrapping around the enemy. More Dryads are flooding in from the left-hand side, as well as Shadow Warriors in for support, and they're managing to weaken the Mortar. It looks like that will be going down, and the Vampire Fleet Captain is going to be fleeing and trying to run to the pocket of strength which has formed up around their Liege Lord, Aranessa's Salt Spite, and her Depth Guard. Queen Bess is still going strong now. Let's see where that Moondragon is. It's cleaning up some of the Scurvy Dogs in the back line, which is a really good idea. Scurvy Dogs are one of the units which can pressure those Shadow Warriors, and if the Archmage manages to finish them all off for good, then the High Elves will be in a very, very good situation. Illyrian Reaver Archers desperately trying to deal with the other Scurvy Dogs, and these guys not going down without a fight. Shadow Warriors as well, having to try and kite backwards where possible. Queen Bess launches another shot up and over towards these Shadow Warriors, and we do some nice damage if it does indeed hit, but luckily for them, the fleet of foot Elves do manage to dodge rather well. It continues to rain fire down as well on enemy summoned troops. Dryads have formed up on Queen Bess now, going to be overrunning her crews rather quickly, and they come from the trees, so perhaps they couldn't see them approaching. And my god, their colour scheme is freaking awesome when it comes with the Avalon forces. Queen Bess going to be going down here, and things looking very, very bleak so far for the Vampires. However, they have managed to force back and shatter one unit of Shadow Warriors, break off the Illyrian Reavers, and there's still Scurvy Dogs on the hunt, prowling on these Shadow Warriors. Araness Assault Spike, the Vampire Fleet Captain, the Mongol Hunter, and the Depth Guard forming a really nice mobile Iron Fist that is carving down all the pointy ears in their path. And the Depth Guard have beautiful durability due to that hunger and, of course, the healing from the Vampire Fleet Captain that they can bring to the table. It looks like this last unit of Shadow Warriors is going to get slowed down enough that the Depth Guard are going to be able to engage, and with their dual-wield axes and Scurvy Dog pressure, the Shadow Warriors simply are going to be terrified and run from the field. So the game's certainly not over too much yet. However, big breath attacks coming from the Archmage could certainly turn this game over for good here. Queen Bess going down, unfortunately, minus 31 leadership, and it really has come down to this little clump of forces standing firm. Zombie Pirate Deck Mob is going to be advancing upon the Rangers at the moment. Illyrian Reaver Archers are being chased off by the Scurvy Dogs. Good micro all round by Storm Runner. The Archmage of Life going to be trying to do a cheeky little snipe on Araness Assault Spike, which is very risky, but deciding to stay up in the air and come with a big, fat, disgusting breath attack, roasting some of those Depth Guard in their own armour, their skin bubbling to the boil. Shadow Warriors have been finished here, it seems. They are routing, being chased off rather well by the Vampire Fleet Captain. This Archmage needs to be a little careful, though. Remember, there is a net still on Araness Assault Spike, so if he comes in for the assassination attempt, which he is doing just now, on the Depth Guard, looking to slam it into them, Invocation Heck has been popped on them. The Mage desperately trying to flee for the hills, but down comes the Spearfisher net, lowering that melee defense by 24. Aranessa, all hands ahoy, has been popped, buffing the troops that are the Depth Guard, and they are ripping big old meaty chunks from this dragon. He's desperately trying to heal himself with a regrowth, but that health is being beamed. A regrowth does go down, but in comes the Hero Core as well. The Vampire Fleet Captain screaming a battle cry, and it looks like the Archmage has actually been broken down to 1,400 health, really struggling to get off the ground here as these Scurvy Dogs do whip up and around, pinning it in place where possible. Prove once and for all, dogs are the man's best friend, not the dragon's. Regrowth still is active, but despite that, down to just 800 health at the moment, and the Archmage shatters before the might of the buffed up Depth Guard. That is how you flip a game on its head. Balance of power has ebbed and flowed massively in favour now of the undead forces, who crash into the Dryads. Depth Guard, blood on their axes from the dragon, eager to spill more blood. Unfortunately, I have to wait for it because, of course, the Dryads will be spilling sap instead, but at the end of the day, what does it matter? That Haunter picks up a Dryad, slams it into the ground, and goes to war. I don't know if the High Elves have enough ammunition about them to drag down the Depth Guard. Shadow Warriors in the distance, running a little low, free ammunition on these guys. The other two have okay range if they are able to focus fire down the Depth Guard. At this point, I think the High Elves need to disengage with all their foot troops and just try to kite the Depth Guard where possible, rain fire down from afar before moving in to finish them off for good, because they're not even at their healing cap just yet. We get a lovely little close-up through the battlefield as they slaughter all the troops, and somehow the larger force of High Elves has found themselves surrounded and beleaguered on all flanks as that Haunter whips around those big old fat limbs, crashing in to the Elves. Dryads have emerged once more from the trees and from the swamps, a desperate attempt here to drag down the Depth Guard, who are taking pretty big damage now. Although it looks like there's going to be some more healing going off. Shadow Warriors are running very, very low on ammunition, and because ammunition does count towards the balance of power, it looks like the High Elf forces will shatter with a well-placed summon coming in from the Vampires. A Pyrrhic victory for sure. Not many troops left whatsoever by the Vampire Coast, but those Depth Guard carried that game. Feasting on Dragon tonight, they shall be doing round the bonfires of the Vampire Coast camp. Excellent game by both these players. Honestly, I love this build from Ramso here. I think he did really well wrapping it around. The one mistake, just the one mistake, which he probably hasn't played Araness Assault Spite too much. She's not a very common pick compared to Count Noctilus and Luther Harkin, but that net coming in just meant even with the regrowth, maybe he thought, you know, even if I get caught, I have a regrowth, I'm a freaking dragon, what could possibly go wrong? Well, buffed up Depth Guard, as well as Aranessa herself doing some pretty decent damage, was enough to drag down the Archmage, and with that, the High Elves lacked the punch to bring down those Depth Guard, because She simply could have hung around, allowed the Shadow Warriors to unload that ammunition into the Depth Guard and save up those 2 more breath attacks. Do them down the line, do some big damage, and despite the hunger and the healing, at that point they're going to be far too low. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. We will go through the damage value and stats and all that good stuff in just a second, particularly of Barry the Bloated Corpse. Before that, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a big old fat thumbs up. It really helps push it out to more people. Also, feel free to comment down below on your favourite moments of the battle, what you'd like to see in the future. Been really enjoying going through all the comments today, actually, of the last couple of videos. Feel free to subscribe as well if you haven't already. We are on the road to 5,000 subs. We're definitely going to be doing a giveaway and special stream when we hit that landmark. There's also links below in the description to my Patreon, where you can support myself and the channel, as well as to my Discord. Now on the Discord you can send me replays, you can get involved in the tournament scene, events that I host, and chill out with a load of cool people and see a lot of cool pictures of ducks. But on to the goodness. So, Aranessa Assault Spite, 37 kills, 1.2k damage value. Not the most insane work by her today, but that Spearfisher's net was incredibly clutch and probably did, in the end, win the day for the Vampire Coast. So, not the most damage value, but still plenty left to give and a load of health. Likewise, the Hero Core in general had a load of health towards the end game. The Vampire Fleet Captain obviously used for her magic more, but the Mongol Hunter certainly didn't do too bad. Nearly 1,000 damage value, 942, and 6,000 damage dealt. Good clear and chaff as well with those 79 kills. The zombie pirate deckhand mobs across the board did relatively decent as well at their job, which is simply hold the enemy back, although they weren't able to protect those mortals, which really struggled. 100 damage value here, 165 on the other one, and Queen Bess, who is disgustingly expensive, 639. Oof. So the range not doing too good, unfortunately, for Stormrunners of Vampire Coast. Likewise, some of the Scurvy Dogs really faltered, of course, coming into contact with that big dragon, but the other two managing to carry the squad. 623 damage value, 1,380. As for Barry, with his 30 kills, 500 damage value, not too shabby. Also helped protected Queen Bess a little while longer. The Depth Guard, though, 191 kills, 2,322 damage value, 13k damage dealt, and still over half health, about 2/3 health, with room left more for healing. So, absolute carry by the Depth Guard and Aranessa, that combination particularly deadly. As for the Avalon forces here, the Archmage of Life, 62 kills, 756 damage value. Really good play early on, eliminating the threat of the Scurvy Dogs, trying to take the mobility game away from the Vampire Coast, where then the Shadow Warriors and Alien Reavers could really just run shop. Nice play there, but of course, accidentally getting her caught in that big net at the end did prove fatal. Dryads, again, and Rangers, relatively okay damage value stats and damage dealt across the board. Nothing fantastic, but they are, for the most part, up against relatively cheap troops. Shadow Warriors doing very well here. 920 damage value, 757, 741, and only 351. So maybe not as crazy good as I thought they would, but some of them had quite a lot of health left towards the end, and they're relatively decent melee combatants, but unfortunately their army broke due to the death of their leader. Alien Reavers as well, 0 damage dealt, 0 kills. They did unfortunately meet a watery grave there in Explosion and Pus. Alien Reaver Archers faring a bit better, 547 damage value from those bad boys. Really fun game. I honestly probably could try a similar build to this. I actually really love this build from the Forces of Avalon, but unfortunately for them, when Aranessa Assault Spite does stalk the land, you are never safe. Hope you guys enjoyed. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.